If you ever said to your spouse, "We make good money, so why do we still feel broke?" You don't need a stricter budget, you need one number, your cash flow baseline. And in the next 10 minutes, we're going to calculate it together so you know if you're winning, treading water, or quietly sinking. And I'll show you the one line most people forget, the expense line that torpedoes most budgets. Hi, I'm Justin, a CFP, former product manager, and Oxford grad. I help busy, ambitious parents build a simple system for their money. Before you budget, before you optimize, before you make big money decisions, there's one number you need, your cash flow baseline. It gives you an honest snapshot of your current financial situation, which you need before you can start the budgeting process where you'll prioritize your spending. This way, when your budding herpetologist child asks you for a black and white Argentine tegu, you can confidently answer your spouse. When they ask, "Are you crazy?" When they ask, "Where's the money coming from?" If you want the checklist and screenshots, the companion blog post is linked below. And if you need help figuring out your priorities, reptilian or otherwise, then the Wheel of Life assessment is also linked below. Power up your laptop because we're going to do this together. Let's start with a quick definition. Your cash flow baseline is the amount of money you have left over each month.
But wait, there's more.
Budgeting, while related to cash flow, comes next. Budgeting is when you proactively try to improve your baseline to make room for the things that you want. If you think of yourself as a business, then your cash flow indicates whether you're a going concern financially. The purpose of budgeting is to improve your margins so that you have more money to invest for growth. But you need to know your starting point before you can identify the right path to take to reach that destination. In 2 minutes, you'll know your starting point and whether your household is running a big surplus, a thin surplus, or a deficit. Step 1, find your real monthly income, not your salary number, the money actually landing in your bank account after taxes and withholdings. To get this number, log into your bank app and add up the total amount of deposits over the past 30 days. Add up paychecks, side income, reimbursements, anything that's reoccurring. Don't forget to include your spouse's income if you combine your household finances. If either of your income varies due to the nature of your work, then take the last 3 months and average it. I'd rather be conservative here and exclude any tax refunds or work bonuses. At best, include the floor amount for your work bonus. If it doesn't have a floor, then no more than 50% of what your bonus is anticipated to be. And then what you do is allocate that over the typical 26 pay periods in a year. You can pause this video for 30 seconds and write down your number. Just understanding net income versus growth income can be a big aha moment. Sometimes it can be hard to understand how you could be treading water when your gross income is $300,000, which works out to about $12,000 per pay period. But in reality, you might only be clearing $8,000 or less. That $4,000 difference is due to state and federal income tax, 401k contributions, and health insurance. In another video linked in the description below, we talk about how you can adjust those levers to reduce withholdings and free up cash flow. Next, we're going to identify the costs that quietly eat high incomes without you noticing. Step 2, list your expenses. I break expenses into 3 categories. Let's start with the 2 most common, fixed and variable. Fixed expenses are the bills that show up every month, but they don't fluctuate. They include things like your mortgage or rent, childcare, car payments, insurance, minimum debt payments, and the subscriptions that you can't live without. They're going to cost the same every month. To figure them out, go back to your bank app or pull up your statement. Search for reoccurring or just scroll for the repeated charges. The second category of expenses are variable expenses. These are similar to fixed in the sense that they show up monthly, but the amounts can vary. Examples here include groceries, restaurants or takeout, shopping, entertainment, gas, and utilities. Now, the category most people forget are the non-monthly expenses. These are the expenses that sneak up on you each year. You know they're there, but they're pushed out into the future, so you forget about them. They can include car repairs, holidays, gifts, travel, medical deductibles, or home maintenance. If you don't include these, you'll still pass your budget on paper, but you'll get wrecked in real life. To get an approximate number, you could simply take last year's total for these big one-off expenses and divide by 26 to get a number per paycheck period. You had $13,000 in non-monthly expenses. Then you could use like $500 as a proxy per pay period for this year's budgeting. As an example of a non-monthly expense that would be difficult to foresee, but easy to budget for with my system, would be when my son made it to nationals in Florida for the Great History Challenge. And with only about a month's notice, we needed to book and pay for the hotel and the air travel and the meals. In the next step, you'll calculate your baseline number, and I'll tell you exactly what to do depending on whether it's positive or negative. Step 3, do the math. To calculate your baseline number, take your net income and subtract total expenses, which you now know includes fixed, variable, and non-monthly expenses. Write it down and circle it. Baseline equals X per a month. Comment surplus or deficit below and tell me what surprised you most. Income, the fixed costs, or those non-monthly expenses. And if you want, drop your baseline number. I'll reply with the one lever to pull first. Now, here's how to interpret your results. Case A, your baseline is negative. If the number is negative, budgeting isn't optional. It's triage here. You need to stop the bleeding, cut the fastest, plug the easiest leaks. 2, you have to renegotiate those big fixed costs if possible. And 3, you can also try to increase your income. In the next video, we'll talk about the budgeting approach that works best in this situation. Case B, baseline is positive but thin. If it's positive but small, you're not bad with money, you're just operating with a tight margin. Your play is going to be to automate savings, debt payoff, retirement. Keep spending simple. You don't need 47 budget categories to manage to the last cent. What you need is a high-level system you'll actually run. Case C, baseline is strong. Positive. Strong like bull. If it's strongly positive, congrats, you have real power. Now the question becomes, what are you funding on purpose? Goals, retirement, private school, college, experiences. This is where budgeting turns from restriction into strategy. Starting with your baseline is critical because it's what funds your goals. When you have no baseline, then your goals are more like wishes. When you have a baseline with a surplus, now your goals become a plan. Quick recap. 1, find your real monthly net income. 2, list fixed, variable, and non-monthly expenses. 3, calculate your baseline by subtracting total expenses from net income and choose your next move. In the next video, I'll show you how to turn this baseline into a one-page budget that takes less time than waiting on a Starbucks drive-thru on a Saturday morning. Enjoy the next video, and I'll see you next time.